you looking to move to one of the most trendy suburb cities in all of America, not just Arizona? Well, if you are, Chandler, Arizona is one of those suburbs, and this is a phenomenal video on what it takes to live in Chandler, Arizona. And we're talking money, guys. What is the cost of living in Chandler, Arizona? This is the video. We're gonna go in depth on several different categories and give you the overall cost in comparison to the state and the country for a similar type city of Chandler, Arizona at the very end. So you wanna stay tuned to that and don't miss it. But first, if you don't mind, check out our 5-star Google reviews. We have over 440 of them right now from satisfied clients, and we would love the opportunity to chat with you. Just check out the contact information below, give us a ring, and we would love to chat with you about your specific situation if we can help you relocate, move up, move down to Chandler, Arizona, or anywhere else in the Phoenix area. So now we're gonna wait till the end to give you the overall score for the cost of living in comparison to everything else, but we're gonna break down some of the important categories first for you right now. And we're gonna start first and foremost with food. Guys, this is the hot topic for every American. Why? Because of inflation, guys. We know that inflation has been killing most American families over the past couple years, and food is a big reason because of that. Prices have skyrocketed. So where does Chandler fall with the food cost in comparison to all the other cities across America? Well, for each one of these categories, we're going to work off a baseline score of 100. If you're below 100, you are below the national average. If you're above 100, you are above the national average. So when it comes to food, Chandler falls at 99, just right below the national average for a city its size. Now, it is actually above the rest of the state of Arizona because the state comes in at 96.1, but Chandler is at 99. And speaking of food, Chandler has some amazing food places to eat now. This was not the case just 5-10 years ago. I've been down here for 19 years selling real estate in the Phoenix area, and it wasn't like that. But guys, the amount of money being spent on downtown Chandler alone is incredible. And what they've done to revitalize downtown Chandler is amazing, guys. They have some good food concepts down there, as well as some breweries and my favorite coffee shop in all of Phoenix, Prosciutto Coffee. And guys, don't ask me to spell it because I'll butcher that one, but look it up. There's an X in there in that name. But Chandler is doing some big things with the food scene, and it's great to see that food overall comes in just below the national average. So next, let's go to healthcare. That's a very important thing. So where does Chandler rank with the cost of healthcare in comparison to its state and national counterparts? It comes in at 92.5. 92.5, guys. This is amazing. You're well below the national average for Chandler, Arizona. There is access to a lot of healthcare with major hospitals, Banner being the big one, Banner Healthcare down here in the East Valley, the Chandler area. So you have a lot of access there, and healthcare comes in at a very low number. So if you're thinking of possibly even retiring or getting up there in age, Chandler could be a very good option for you. And the weather, it's pretty awesome too. Okay, now let's pivot to transportation. Transportation is an interesting aspect because, again, Phoenix in general just is not one of those major cities that has a lot of options when it comes to public transportation. You pretty much have to have a car. Now, I'm not a big stickler or a big proponent of gas versus electric, electric versus gas, but I'll tell you one thing, electric cars in Phoenix for a daily driver, not a bad idea. Why? Because it's so spread out, and it has just enough battery life, if you charge it all the way, of course, to get around the city for most everything you need. Now, there are chargers and superchargers throughout the Phoenix area, and Chandler is no different. But transportation comes in at 112 over 100. It is higher because you don't have a lot of options. So you have to operate a car of some sort. Or if you're not going to, and you're gonna do Uber, it's going to be expensive because you're going a lot of different places to get to where you need to go. Guys, there's this running joke in Phoenix that everything is about 20 minutes away. Chandler is spread out, no different. You have North Chandler, and then you have this little central area of Chandler where the 202 freeway kind of runs right through it, east to west or west to east, however you're going. And then you have South Chandler, which is a little more expensive. So if you pull up the map right here and look at it, you see exactly what I mean. You can see the border of Chandler on this map, and you can see that 202 loop kind of runs right through it. Now, this is called the Santan Freeway in this section of the 202 loop interstate system. And the housing cost, which we're going to go to in just a second, is cheaper on the top part, and the southern part of Chandler is more expensive. Now, speaking of that, let's pivot right now into our next category, which is housing. Now, Chandler is known as the Silicon Valley of the Southwest, and that means they have a lot of higher paying jobs. And with higher paying jobs comes more money, and with more money, people love to live in a certain place around these high paying jobs, and therefore the housing goes up. not down. So the housing cost in Chandler has increased dramatically over the past several years. And although it has gone up a lot, there's a reason for it, because the neighborhoods are clean. The neighborhoods are friendly. There is very low crime. And so with those housing costs being more expensive, you also get a lot of benefits for that, especially when it comes to your location or transportation to your work, your commute back and forth to where you live. And if you're closer to where you work, it's just better overall. So maybe people are paying more for that convenience. That seems to be the case. But Chandler is up and coming. It is probably the next Scottsdale of the suburbs of all of Phoenix. And it is a highly sought after place to live. And that's why housing comes in at 145 over 100. And even in comparison to the state, it's a little bit higher because the state comes in at 119 over 100. So the state of Arizona housing in general is more expensive than the normal state in America. Why again? Because population influx, right? A lot of people are moving to Arizona for all the benefits which we described in multiple different videos on this YouTube channel. So check out our other playlist right here at our YouTube channel here, Everything Phoenix. Now, if you're going to rent, the average property in Chandler is going to rent for about $2,900 to $3,000 a month. Now, if you want a 4-bedroom property, you're looking at on average about $3,300 to $3,400 a month in Chandler. Now, if you're looking to buy in Chandler, the median price point right now is about $565,000 in Chandler. So you can see right now that includes the luxury all the way to the non-luxury properties, but the median will not cheat that. So the average price point will be actually higher than $565,000, but the median will be $565,000 because it's the most accurate gauge. And there are luxury properties in Chandler. There are a lot of huge homes, especially going up in the south part of Chandler, where you have a little bit larger lots and some more luxurious properties. You also have condos and upscale luxury condos in South Chandler as well. You don't find a lot of that except for places like Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, or Tempe, but South Chandler also has that product if that's what you're looking for. Okay, so now let's go to utilities. Now with housing, you have to have utilities. So even though you have a monthly mortgage payment, that's not all you'll be paying to live in that house. You have to pay to operate and live in that property as well. Utilities in Chandler come in at 101, just a little bit above the national average, while the state comes in at 102, just a little bit above Chandler. I think the reason why is because you do have different climates in the state of Arizona. A lot of people don't understand that. They think it's just the desert in Arizona. That's not true. You have the whole northern rim in Arizona, which it snows and there's winters and it's ponderosa pines, kind of like Colorado. Very nice, by the way, and a good contrast to the desert. And so you have gas and a lot of utilities and different utilities that you're going to pay up there that you may not pay that much of in the Phoenix area, which is where Chandler is located. So you do have a smaller utility cost there, but overall, the costs are right in line with the national average. Now let's pivot over to crime. Safety is a big issue, obviously, for Americans living anywhere, in any state, in any city, and people who live in Chandler are no different. The overall rankings of crime from 1 to 100, 100 being the highest and the most unsafe place, Chandler comes in at 13.2. So Chandler is very low on crime, but is there still crime? There is. It's almost impossible to find a place that has zero crime, but it's very low. So you can feel safe at night for the most part when you're living in Chandler, Arizona. Now with crime, if you take incidents that occur per each 100,000 segment of people, then Chandler comes in right around 2,200 violent crime reportings for each 100,000 segments of population. Okay, now how does that compare to cities around it? Well, Gilbert comes in at 96, not 2,200. Mesa comes in at 379, and Tempe, which is just to the west, comes in over 460. So you have a lot more safety in Chandler, not as much as Gilbert, but you are safe tucked in that East Valley pocket in the valley overall. Now, you can't talk about cost of living without talking about jobs. So Chandler has a lot of jobs available, and it is growing every single month. A lot of higher paying jobs. Now, obviously, there's going to be swings in some of this because as the economy goes, so do job offers. So you have companies like Intel that may be cutting jobs from time to time. But overall, the future looks bright when it comes to the overall job employment in Chandler. So right now, the unemployment rate in Chandler is only 3.4% in comparison to the national average, which just actually rose to 4.3%. So Chandler is doing much better there. Also, household income for Chandler is around $92,000 a year, whereas the national average currently sits around $69,000 a year. So it beats that as well. And if you look at the types of jobs in different industries and what they pay in Chandler, they pretty much beat the state average for those same sectors. And if you look at those sectors on a statewide basis, Chandler actually beats the majority of those jobs in terms of comparing it to the state, as well as comparing it to the rest of the Phoenix area. So again, these same type of jobs in these different sectors tend to pay out more in Chandler, Arizona. And therefore, that's the reason you have the cost of living being a little bit higher than the national average, because it all kind of is proportional and works together. Okay, now let's pivot to taxes. We won't spend a ton of time on this because taxes kind of are dependent more on the statewide federal basis, but there are sales taxes that actually vary from different local ordinances or city by city. And the sales tax in Chandler is 7.8%. And overall, did you know that the average U.S. sales tax for most cities is 7.3%. So it's a little bit more than that. Now, the good news is for Chandler, when it comes to state income tax, it's the same as every other place in the state of Arizona, which is a flat tax now of 2.5%. That's right. If you make a lot or little, it doesn't matter. Everyone pays a flat tax of 2.5%, which is the lowest state income tax in all of America for states that actually charge an income tax. Obviously, there are some that have no taxes at all, which is great, but Arizona at 2.5 flat is very, very good. So Chandler is good there too as well. So drum roll, please. Overall, what is the cost of living in Chandler and how does it compare to other cities similar across America? Well, here's the number. 13%, guys. It is 13% more to live in Chandler, Arizona than a similar type city across the U.S. And overall, it's 6.2% more to live in Chandler in comparison to the rest of the cities in the state of Arizona. So how much money do you really have to make in terms of income to afford to live in Chandler, Arizona? Well, for a family, they recommend about $96,000 a year. And for a single individual, they recommend about $72,000 a year. So are you currently making that? And if you're not, maybe that pay increase you'll get, hopefully, by taking that same job in that same sector of industry in Chandler, because it pays more, will allow you to offset the difference, therefore afford to live in Chandler. So all these things matter, guys. And by the way, these are just averages. So if you want to know what certain areas cost, the cheap areas, the luxury areas, and everything in between, condos, houses in Chandler, we would love to have that conversation with you. Reach out to us. Call us at 480-660-5974. I've been selling real estate down here, guys, for 19 years, and myself or someone on my team that specializes in Chandler can certainly help you with any questions you have. I really hope you enjoyed your time on this video, and to make sure you always see all the videos we have coming out about Chandler and every other city located here in the Phoenix area, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and like us, get us out to more people that can enjoy this content for your education and enjoyment. Don't forget to call.